Today on the newscast, everybody.
It is our 2016 New Year's special.
Yes. Today we're talking about the hottest messes in games and movies.
And some of our best picks in games and movies.
And of course, our most anticipated stuff coming in 2017. Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that didn't work out as well as...
Welcome to our New Year's special on super old technology.
Yeah, we're using retro tech.
We are using retro tech today. An old camera, an old computer. See,
lighting that's not great, but you won't notice that. You don't know that.
Yeah, hopefully you don't notice that. You'll notice the camera though, because howdy, it's chunky.
Wow, what is that, like 720-ish?
We've gone old school for our New Year's special, but mostly because Nick broke his computer.
We should really be looking into 4K, not 720, right? We should be upgrading.
No, I took us down.
4K is not here yet. It's not ready yet. You're not ready for 4K displays.
I moved us down a step. Okay, so we're at least streaming.
Oh, that looks... I don't want to
That's
look...
just... Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
That's my computer. That's not the actual... We're good.
Okay.
Because otherwise it would say down there that we've dropped. We have not, so we're okay.
So far.
Yeah. And we're streaming out at an extreme rate, so we're good on that part.
Yeah, they can see us in all of our awesome 720p glory.
Well, that's what we always broadcast out at, so...
Yeah, but this is actually...
Yeah, this is legit. So, yeah, we're not even filming in 1080.
Yeah.
Well, the Barrel Roll Newscast, the first one of 2017. I have to start a new playlist.
Yes, we do. Figured we start off the new year by talking about what we liked and what we hated about last year. Yeah.
We're skipping over all the celebrity and like...
Let's not talk about that.
Yeah.
That speaks for itself.
Yep.
It's not...
Yeah, we're skipping over that hot mess and we're going into other hot messes.
Speaking of hot messes. Let's get into it.
I'm Nick, by the way.
I'm Tony. We are here.
Yes, we are.
Let's get into it.
Hottest video game mess of last year, Tony. Hottest video game mess.
There was a lot of things that happened this year in video games. Not just like the games itself, but the industry. A lot of people kind of going crazy over, VR and No Man's Sky and everything that happened around that game.
Yep.
And yeah, this year was very polarizing. You had some great stuff and some really, really bad stuff. So let's just get into some of the bad stuff. Should we start with games or movies? Do you want to...
Games. Okay. Hottest games. Okay. Hottest game messes.
Okay. I think this one's a no-brainer for me and for a lot of people.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky.
That's what I wrote. No
Man's Sky is by far one of the most disappointing things I've seen coming out this year.
Oof.
Just from a marketing standpoint,
yes.
A development standpoint, and what they actually released. It literally is 3 different channels.
It was
felt like three different things. It's like, what you talked about.
Every part of that process.
What you were working on.
Yeah.
And what was actually released, it felt like it should not have been it's still not, it shouldn't even be a $40 game.
No, and that's my biggest issue is like you still see it on a Steam sale and you go, oh.
No. See, if they had marketed that game and said, hey, this is a $20 early access game.
Sure.
Yeah. The potential to grow is there. Yep. Obviously, they're doing Foundation updates.
The Foundation update, yeah.
Those kinds of things. But at the end of the day, man, that game was a hot garbage.
A lot of hot garbage. And nothing to save it.
Right. And their silence didn't help.
And I understand the silence.
Yes.
Small development team.
Right.
Same as Pokemon Go.
But inversely with Pokemon Go, for some reason, they have a PR team.
They finally figured stuff out.
They have a community. They need a community manager.
They do need a community manager.
Hello Games needs a community manager to talk to the rest of the world about what it is they're doing.
And what is that? Yeah, and that's the biggest piece. Like, even if it's, guys, this is what we're trying to work on right now. Mm-hmm. And start using the word trying to and hoping to.
And we hear what you're talking, we hear your issues, and this is how we're going to address those issues.
Well, and because that was one of the biggest issues, even when it was like, well, is there going to be multiplayer? And the guy was just like, yes. Not, we hope to implement multiplayer in the future. Not, like, oh, we're hoping to add that, or we'd like to be able to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It was, yes.
Yeah.
And that's what got them into trouble.
Or things like showing up, was it on Conan O'Brien?
Yeah.
Was that the Conan
One
O'Brien?
of those, yeah.
One of those night talk shows where they brought the game and it looked great.
Yeah.
But you could clearly see he wasn't even playing the game.
Yeah.
It was literally a video loop. And I'm like, you're not fooling anyone.
Mm-mm.
This game needs a lot more work. It should, and I feel for those guys. Like they went through a lot of stuff.
They
through
did.
the development of the game. They lost basically all of it almost.
Yeah, but I mean, honestly, if you
at one point,
I don't know. I think if they would have told the truth, shown us what the game was going to come out with, even if they would have shown us what the original game, if it would have released at $40. But they hadn't lied about any of the other stuff, and they said, like, oh, in upcoming updates or patches or DLC, we're going to add this extra stuff. I think people would have been fine paying $40.
And you know what, though? No Man's Sky's sort of release and development really sounds almost like a Kickstarter campaign.
It did.
Where it was, hey, this is a great demo reel. This is what we want to do.
Yeah.
What actually comes out.
Yeah.
At the end. It felt like a Kickstarter campaign.
Yeah.
So.
But that's what I said for my hottest game mess, because that was just like
sort of our runner-ups on that one. Speaking of Kickstarter messes, Mighty Number 9.
Ugh.
That was real bad too, and Street Fighter 5
Yep.
for me. And I don't know if you have any others to add on to that.
No, and Mighty Number 9 was I'm so glad that I pulled out of Mighty Number 9 because I was part of that Kickstarter. Because I'm like, if you're giving me essentially
Mega Man,
Mega Man X. Something in that style, I'm in. And then it was like, it kept getting higher and higher and higher, and I'm like, well, they don't need my money anymore.
Yeah,
I'm getting nothing out of this, so I'm just all to get the Wii U version when it comes out. Like, that was my brain. And then, so I took my money out, and then the Kickstarter ended, and it was like, well, Capcom's saying that they'll help us produce the game. And I'm going,
that was the nail in the coffin. I was like,
yeah.
Why would you go back to the company
that booted you?
That booted you and took your property.
Yeah.
Everything behind that was...
Everything that happened after the Kickstarter was just a giant kick in the nuts.
Yeah. And Street Fighter 5 just had a really rocky release. Yes. I mean, it launched without a story mode, so for casual players who want to really practice the game...
Which is how I started fighting game.
Exactly. That's how most people started.
Yeah.
It's great. But unfortunately, it didn't launch with one. And when it did launch with one, or when the story mode did come out... Again, it was just another travesty because there was loading issues, there was issues with a lot of the patches, and the worst part about the Street Fighter 5 on the PC, we didn't talk about this before. In order to sort of safeguard some of the game's code and prevent people from doing any serious modding, the PC version, developers actually pushed out a rootkit onto your computer to prevent you from basically, modding your system. And if you do, they'll send the system or send your information back to Capcom. For those who don't know what a rootkit is, it basically opens up your computer to malware, spyware, viruses, that kind of thing.
See, and there's other...
And they could have handled that so much better on the PC.
And there's other ways of going about that. Because, I mean, you play Blizzard games.
Yes.
Blizzard does that.
Yeah.
Just not...
With a rootkit.
Not with a rootkit. If you mess with their files, they know.
Yes,
and that's how they...
And Valve, same thing with Valve games.
And again, for multiplayer games, it's valid that you don't want someone...
You don't want someone with an advantage over you, especially in a fighting game.
Any multiplayer, anything like that. Because I was even the same with WoW. They didn't want... There was a way that you could go into the file and make resource nodes massive, so that you could see them from miles away. So you knew, like, oh, I'm mining today. Hit the button. So you'd run towards it and know where it was because it grew disadvantage.
My friend was telling me about the one where it broke the server. It showed the radius of boss's attack and stuff like that. And that one they had to ban because it used too much resources on the server side.
Yeah. But that's the thing. So I understand games wanting to do that, but that's the wrong way.
Going around, Capcom really messed up.
We will open your computer up to everybody who wants to.
We just don't want you using that sweet Akuma skin.
Yeah. How dare you?
So, Yeah, those are
Yes.
our runner-ups and hot messes
For
this year.
games.
This year for games.
Hottest mess for movies.
I think this one is a hands down for me.
Yes.
Sausage Party was the biggest waste of my time.
Now that's hottest mess. This isn't worst movie.
Oh, hottest movie.
Hottest mess for movie.
Oh, okay.
What
So
movie
we're
screwed
spoiled.
up?
You're jumping up ahead.
Hottest mess game movies.
Okay.
I'm still on the first thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. We did this.
Yes. I'm still considering Sausage Party.
You're still considering that a hot mess?
The entire movie is just not watchable. I refuse to watch. How I gauge that is I don't want to see that movie ever again.
I think
something like...
And I think when your trailer has to open up with, this is not a kid's movie, like, you've done something wrong.
Yeah. It's all the marketing. I mean, the marketing is spot on.
It is.
I guess, if you're going to, find positives about it. But at the end of the day, no, I don't ever want to see that movie ever again.
My hottest mess for my movie thing was the Ghostbusters marketing.
Okay.
Because it's actually not it's not movie of the year.
No.
But it's not that hot mess that everybody thought it was going to be based on trailers.
Mm-hmm.
And everything. Nothing that came out of the marketing team's mouth sounded good. And then finally I watched it and I'm like, and maybe that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
Make it seem like crap. So when I watch it, I go, oh, not crap.
And and you know what though? Like, this year was it's actually pretty light in terms of bad movie things, because it was a really good year for movies.
There was a lot of good movies.
There was a lot of good stuff.
Everything else was kind of just.
It wasn't if Ghostbusters and Sausage Party is on our lowest end, that's not that bad.
Yeah, and I mean, there's movies that we obviously didn't see.
Yeah,
but
we're missing out on, I don't know, something.
Yeah, there's obviously something.
Something we didn't watch this year.
All right.
Okay.
Top pick.
This is good stuff, I guess. Right?
Top game and worst game, I'm assuming. Yes. We'll go to next.
We already did worst game.
That was hottest mess.
Oh, it's still my.
You're still picking No Man's Sky.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's easy for me.
All right.
Yeah. That's the worst game of all time right now for 2016.
All right.
Yeah.
Top game.
Okay.
Then I'll do my worst game.
Yep. So there's a lot of good games this year. There was several games this year. Sun and Moon, Pokemon Sun and Moon.
Yep.
We saw that come out. That was wonderful.
Life improvements up the wazoo.
Yeah. I get that there's a few things that could have been handled a little bit better in the game. Things like the loss of the PSS system, which was that if you had to do any online stuff in Pokemon Sun and Moon, you had to go to that festival plaza.
Yes.
And then go online. But in the last generation, it was just a button press and you could go online. I get little weird backwards things like that just to add more features.
Yeah.
Because the festival plaza at the end of the day still added a lot of cool stuff. But if you just wanted to do quick Wonder Trade, you had to go through menus and menus and menus. But still, like, the amount of things that they added to that game visually and game mechanically, amazing.
I will press a couple buttons to get to Wonder Trade.
Right. I'm fine with that. Yeah, exactly. I'm okay with knowing, how this move works against or the opponent's defending Pokemon. Things like that. Like,
well, and I was even telling Chris, because he got it a couple days ago, because I went to his place and he's like, I bought it, and he plugged it in like he just started when I was there.
Oh God!
And I'm like, prepare for a tutorial. Yeah,
the beginning portion, the story, the first half of that game felt really drawn out in my mind. Like, there was I'm not opposed to having a good solid story in a Pokemon game.
Yeah,
but that was really drawn out,
and especially that beginning. Like, watching him play, I'm like, was it that painful?
It was very painful.
And then it's like, yeah, it was. And then he finally got to the part where he was like, Professor Kukui was like teaching him how to catch Pokemon, and he's like, I know how to catch Pokemon, and I'm like, oh yeah, that frustration.
At some point in time, they really need to,
when you start the game up.
Yeah. Well, no, not even just
make your character.
Yeah, make your character. But like, they've been doing really good with making a special demo coming out before the game.
Yeah, if you've played the demo,
make it so that we know the game reads that you've played this, you've completed the special demo. You know how to fight. You know how to catch a Pokemon. You know how this game works. We're gonna bypass all of that for you. You obviously are vested in the series. You play the special
Even
demo.
if it looks for save files on your machine.
Yeah, like there should be some way of checking it, but I guess it's a kids game, right? So they gotta.
And I get that, but if you look for a save file, or even if it's you're creating your character and it's like, have you played a Pokemon game before? Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, so you know how to catch Pokemon? Yes. Mm-hmm. Simple, checkbox.
Mm-hmm. Firewatch.
Yeah.
This was
I still haven't finished Firewatch.
It's the last bit of it's kind of a drag, just because there's. I don't want to spoil the ending of the movie. The game. It almost felt like
it almost feels like a movie. Yeah.
But the ending is probably the worst part of that game.
Oh well.
But at the end of the day, it's still a good narrative.
I was gonna say the rest of the ride is
it's very good. Like those two characters have been on numerous top video game actor lists.
As they should be
of all time.
That was really well done.
Like honestly, if I had to choose between either one of them, I think I would choose the actress that did Delilah. Like she felt real. I mean, was it John? Is it John?
I think it's John.
Something like that. The main
guy.
The main guy that you play as.
Yeah.
He was good, but Delilah felt really real.
Well, and even as John, even playing as him.
Like their conversations.
When you pick a dialogue option in your brain, you're already thinking about what you would say, and then just the response you get back from her is
It's
way
very realistic. It almost feels like they didn't have a script.
Yeah.
Almost the way they interacted with each other. It's
I found a rock. That's nice, dummy.
It's like, what do I look like when I'm drawing you? Oh, you got this. You're describing yourself in the beginning of the game, and then you get to some points in the time. It's like, oh, that's cool. That came back somehow. But yeah, Firewatch was really, really good. It's well worth your time. I don't know if it's going to be top game of the year, but
no, obviously, well, it's not my top game of the year.
Uncharted 4. I know you don't really play PlayStation 4 games.
I can't.
No, you don't. It's very difficult for you to play a PlayStation 4 game if you don't have a PlayStation 4.
I can throw the disc at my PC.
It's not going to work.
No.
But honestly, if you've got a PlayStation 4, this is a game you should really experience.
Yeah.
It's visually story narrative. We just talked about Firewatch being really natural in their conversations. Uncharted has always been they've been very good with that between all the 4 games and the Vita game. Like everything, all the story, all the narrative, and just the tech behind the PlayStation 4 now. Like you get the facial animations that almost feel like it's a movie.
Yeah.
And when I'm finding it difficult to discern whether or not this is a game or a movie, that's when games are really blurring that line. And as an action game, it's actually pretty solid too. I mean, they've already made so many good improvements and refinements over the years that it's basically just it's Uncharted again.
Yeah.
Right? They don't why reinvent the wheel? It works.
Well, and at that point, then give a nod to the Rise of the Tomb Raider game.
Oh yeah,
that was a stunning game.
Yeah, that's on my list of not yet played.
And honestly, you boot up that game, and you start in, this epic mountain winter scene, and it makes your video card work.
Yes, I've heard that it is one of the more demanding games on the market.
Yeah, but again, it's beautiful. They've taken what happened in the last Tomb Raider game, like all that stuff, and it was like, hey, remember the last Tomb Raider?
Yeah, the ending.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And you're just like, all right, except now Laura's like
a little
slightly more ready for crap.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the first game, it was like she was thrust into this and somehow became this giant badass. This time she's like, I know I'm bad. What up?
Yeah, that's my wish list. I don't want to buy it just yet.
But that's the thing, like for me, and again, not top game, but if, it does deserve some kind of mention because it was a stellar game.
Mm-hmm. And I am getting a new video card, which should be able to run it, but we'll see.
Because Tomb Raider was good.
Yeah.
This is just they took what they did good in that game and were like, hey, guess what?
Absolutely, I can believe that. Yeah.
So, people who actually spend time on sequels, making good games.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was your top game though?
I think this was a hard one for me because I enjoyed all of those games, but I think the one game that I didn't expect to enjoy it as much as I did.
Yep.
Overwatch.
Yeah.
And I think that's going to be on the top of many individuals' lists, many people's lists, because that game had the best debut, had the best style, had the most easiest to get into gameplay for casual people or competitive people.
Anybody, you hit a button.
It's got almost everything for everyone, and it's available on everything.
Yeah.
Making it accessible from all sorts of audiences.
Oh, yeah.
And so I know people who play on all sorts of platforms.
Yeah.
They should be playing on PC, but yeah. And that's another thing that Blizzard's been really good with the console market, because they historically don't do console. But when the Sombra patch came out on the PC, the console players were like, well, when are we going to get this? Like, another 6 months. And then they're like, no, it's coming tomorrow, because we couldn't authenticate the patch until tomorrow.
Right.
But it's coming tomorrow.
It's like, it's not our fault. It's like...
It's just the way that the schedule works. You guys aren't getting it until tomorrow.
Yeah.
We have control over our own client. That's why
PC we can go click and you get it.
Yeah, that's how that works.
PlayStation, Xbox One, we have to
it takes a time, but we have
to put it into the system and let it do its thing.
Yeah. And so everything about Blizzard's
they've been on the ball for the last I'm going to say 2 years. They've just
honestly, like with WoW and
the last WoW the WoW expansion came out this year. Legion was finally like a decent expansion,
and Hearthstone's doing really, really well. I mean, I don't agree with Hearthstone stuff,
and I'm not a huge Hearthstone guy, but let's face it, we've heroed of the storms more than we thought we would.
Yes, exactly.
Like that game sucks you in more than like
yes. And so like Overwatch, and it's really, really surprising because Overwatch still doesn't have any like main single player content.
No.
Beyond the shorts, the comics, the stuff that you find on the website, the ARG, and it doesn't need it because
they keep adding.
Yeah, and the characters have so much style, and all the characters are just different enough that it's like, oh, this one's the Bastion, this is the turret robot guy, then there's Reinhardt, the big.
Oh yeah, and they're all different.
Yeah, like everyone's got their own style, and yeah.
And that was the other piece too. The fact that they keep adding to it, is what keeps it going. Because you play something like Brink, which was the same thing, no real single player, all based on multiplayer. Well, once they were done updating that, like it was done. There was no more to Brink.
I'll even go one up on that. Like Team Fortress 2, it took them how many years to add a competitive co-op mode to that game? And sure, you could argue that it's free to play, but I'm willing to pay $20-$30 for a game, and then on top of that, a few crates every every 6 months or so.
Oh yeah.
Like TF2 has backslid so much over the past year that I think it's like for Valve, the tech behind Half-Life, or the Half-Life engine, or the Source engine, it's really holding that game back. Yeah, like you can tell now. Yeah. Whereas with something like Overwatch, it feels really modern.
Well, ground up. Built. Done.
Yeah, like at some point, Valve's going to have to like release a Switch for, what is it, Source 2.0 or something like that now? To do all their things. Because everything of theirs is kind of
And then they can release Team Fortress 4, because they don't do 3s. So.
No, they don't want to count Left 4 Dead 4. Yeah.
So just keep skipping. We'll just skip 3 and go straight to
They don't know how to number.
I'm going to go to my worst game since you're talking about Overwatch.
Okay.
Inversely, Battleborn, which came out like the same week as Overwatch.
Yeah.
Same concept.
A bunch of those games came out this
way crappier game.
Yeah. I don't know. I've watched people play that game. I've seen videos of that game. Yeah. I don't know where that game went wrong, because so much of it went wrong.
So much.
Like I think the only positive thing about the game that I've seen through the marketing and gameplay is some of the dialogue, some of the narrative stuff. It actually feels like a Borderlands game.
It does, except you have to break through so much of the junk just to get to that. It's not worth it. Like, and it's hard to get into. There's resource management that you have to like worry about all the time that didn't make sense to me when I first started playing. Like, I played that game for I'll say an hour. Like, I'll be generous and say an hour. I was frustrated by the end of it. I was so frustrated with Battleborn that I got on a Humble Bundle. Like, I got it cheap. I was so frustrated with Battleborn, I went and bought Overwatch. Because I had heard all the good things about Overwatch. Yeah. And I'm like... Because I like the concept of Battleborn. They just didn't pull it off. And I'm like, I want a game like this. Oh, look, right next door on the same weekend.
Yes. It's almost like Blizzard planned that a little bit. But and Battleborn had been going through a lot of betas, too, at that point.
Yep.
Like, it had a lot of opportunities to improve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or even just look at another game and go, oh,
and
what they're doing is much stronger than what we're
and conversely
doing.
speaking, with Overwatch, same thing. They had tons of betas, tons and tons of betas, and they took everything into account. Like they took all the player feedback and actually improved the game, balanced it, made it, actually playable.
Yep. Yeah, crazy like that. But yeah, Battleborn that was my worst game that I've played this year. It was just like...
Yeah. Yeah, this year's bad games have been really bad.
Yeah.
And this year's good games have been really good.
Even the art style can, like, going from the cinematics in Battleborn to the actual gameplay didn't mesh up. And, like... And I get that sometimes you do a stylized cinematic and then throw you into the game. Yeah. But the game was blah.
It seemed really bland.
That's what I mean.
Visually, it was colorful enough, but it still didn't...
There's pops of color, but there's no detail.
Yeah.
And I get you don't want to throw, like... You're an online multiplayer game, you don't want to... But then you look at Overwatch, which isn't taxing on any of my machines. Like, anybody can really... Like, a lot of people can play Overwatch.
I can still play Overwatch.
It's still pretty.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something about Gearbox where... Like, are they stuck? Do they just have to make Borderlands games and
that's all they can do?
Yeah, like they obviously can't do new IPs. They can't do old IPs. Duke Nukem. Or Alien, whatever that one was.
Colonial Marine.
Yeah, that one. That hot garbage. Do they just is that it? Do they just do Borderlands at this point? Like that's all they can do. All the Borderlands games so far have been fairly passable.
Yeah.
Especially the pre-sequel, right? Like, that was good.
Yeah.
It's just, at this point, people are really waiting for Borderlands 3.
Good old Overwatch.
I think they're publishing Bulletstorm, a remaster for Bulletstorm.
I believe they are.
But, and actually, I'm kind of glad because I never had the opportunity to play Bulletstorm when it came out, like, way back when.
Yep.
But... We'll see what happens with that. I'm not holding my breath for Bulletstorm. And that's not talking about anticipated games either.
Yeah. Top game. I've put a bajillion hours into Planet Coaster.
Yes.
That's what I was going to go and do this morning when I woke up.
Let's not dive into that.
Because in my brain, like, the best part about Planet Coaster is you see something in real life and you can almost recreate it in that game.
Yeah.
Like, given enough time, you can do it.
Mm-hmm.
So, and you go by a building and go, oh, cool concept. Like, I like what they're doing in that building. So you do it. Like, all of a sudden, it's like, in the game, you can sit there and go, ah. And then, I mean, the last patch kind of did some stuff to the game, which I'm not overly fond of.
But here's the thing about Planet Coaster. They patch their games.
Yes.
They listen to player feedback.
Oh, yes.
They've been, just like Overwatch, they consistently update the game.
The last patch we got gave us a bunch of free stuff that they did not have to give us.
Right.
Like, and that could have been, pay us $10, get all this Christmas stuff.
Yeah.
And people would have been like, all right.
Yeah.
And they're like, our game just came out. Here's some new assets.
Yeah, that's totally what Overwatch would do. Planet Coaster does exactly the same thing. It listens to its player fan base and says, here's stuff.
Yeah.
Here you want balance. You want symmetric balancing? Here you go.
Yeah.
You want a new asset for your Planet Coaster?
And I've been reading more, and that's the greatest thing about this game too is the community behind it. It's full of creators. So you get all these blueprints on the Steam Workshop because you can't mod the game, but you can still whatever you build, you can save as a blueprint and throw on the Steam Workshop.
And the nice thing about it is that it's basically a built-in modding system rather than having to import your own assets.
And then, so the newest thing they added, which was my biggest grief, is the prestige system. So your roller coaster starts off as new.
Yep.
It's fancy. It brings people into the park. You can charge a buttload for it, and people will go on it. And as it gets older, it gets worse.
Yeah.
Like it
does worse.
It gets what is it now? It's new, and then it's aging, and as it's aging, you have to charge less, and then it becomes old. And when it becomes old, all of a sudden you're like,
whatever.
When it becomes old, it's useless. Like you have to almost charge nothing for it, just to get people on it. But then it can become a classic, and it's just working your way through to classic. That takes time, But like I've been reading online, wait till stuff becomes old, then build new rides. Like don't build ride, and then wait, because then they all become old at the same time, and your park just empties out.
It's almost like a real park.
So that's the thing. And that and our biggest piece that we've said to Planet Coaster is, if someone's built a good roller coaster, it doesn't matter how old it is, people will ride it. Like, people will continue to go on it. Is there not a mechanic that goes like, hey, this coaster, is done so well, that it can just, like...
By its name alone.
Instantly just be like, oh, it's been ridden this many times before it got to the, old part. So it goes from aging...
A little more finessing.
Yeah. It goes from... Oh no. It goes from, like, aging to classic.
Yeah.
Or from new to, like, just classic, because it's like, oh man, this coaster's awesome.
And you know what? I think they'll take all that feedback into account.
And they've been trying. Like, anything we throw at them, because even when you build buildings, you can't build walls at a 45-degree angle.
Mm.
And they're like, we are working on it. But the walls stop people from walking through stuff. So if the walls don't work properly, you build a door, the game won't see it as a door. So right now the workaround is you build one building at one angle, and then you build another building at the 45-degree angle, and you mesh them together.
Yeah.
And everybody's been making it work.
Yeah.
Like, everybody's finding ways around it that isn't like, oh, this is stupid.
It's a pretty flexible system.
And again, it's not like you're sitting there going, oh, you build part of the building, you build another part of the building. They're two separate buildings as the game looks at it, but all in all, it's not like, it's not counting towards scenery points, and it's not... Because in that game, you can literally build a box and be like, it's done! And the game's like, you have a hot dog stand. The all the additions you put on, mostly for you. Like, mostly for you to look at.
It's more of a personal flair.
And scenery points do count. But again, you can just put plants along a thing and be like, done!
Put flowers.
And essentially you can. It's the posters you put up on the walls and all the lights that you add and all that jazz. A lot of that's...
I was checking to see frames.
No, we're good.
Yep.
A lot of that's just for you. Like, you put a sign up on a building, and then you put another sign up on a building, and however you've designed the building is for you. So yeah, all the freedoms they put in that game. But yeah, again, when the developers actually listen...
Those are the best kinds of games.
And again, there's not a lot of communication from them, but they release an update, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, well, we were asking for... we were asking for that. Oh, we were like, they've been listening. And every once in a while we do get a little like, yep. But right now it's not like, this is what we're working on. It's essentially like we throw stuff out there, they release an update, and they go, we couldn't get this thing in, it breaks the game. Cool. Thanks for letting us know. Like, I like the game as is. If you could make this edition, we can't. Breaks game. Okay.
We'll work on it, though.
But we'll keep looking.
Yeah.
So that part's, So that was my top game, was Planet.
So that was our games of the 2016.
Yes.
Top games. Overwatch and Planet Coaster.
Okay, I'll throw my worst movie up. I talked about that one. Because that was my hottest mess for movies. So your worst movie, Sausage Party?
Yeah. What was your worst movie?
I'm going to say X-Men Apocalypse.
Yeah.
I didn't see it in theaters. Because, honestly, the X-Men franchise...
No.
With that younger... Like, First Class...
Michael Fassbender's really good.
Yes.
That's the only good part of that movie.
Yeah.
Like, he shows so much emotion in that movie, and so much character growth and building.
Well...
And then nothing happens on it.
Yeah. I can't stand... Jennifer Lawrence, she's lost me as a fan.
I was never really into her work to begin with. And
I always, I think the quirky thing that always kept happening was like, oh, she's funny, she's like a regular person in Hollywood. Like, that part was like, oh, good draw. Whereas, I keep seeing her movies and going, eh?
I watched that last Hunger Games game movie, whatever. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah.
That movie was... And that... Not for the lack of Seymour Hoffman in it, but it just overall...
Yeah.
It was just bad.
Bad. But X-Men Apocalypse...
even worse. But X-Men Apocalypse, even worse.
Well...
I think.
And they keep trying to make, because Jennifer Lawrence is Mystique, it's like, we'll make her a good guy.
She doesn't. She's not a good person. And,
Like, okay, spoilers if you haven't seen it, but like it ends with her training the X-Men. Makes zero sense.
if anything, it should be Storm. But even
Sure.
But even then, like that's not like the timeline. That's not it.
Oh, they have messed up that timeline so bad. It's like I think Bryan Singer looked at it and went,
Ooh.
"Well, we have that third time. Like we have the regular timeline, which is totally fine.
Yeah.
Which they reset, and I wish they would have done something with.
No.
Like I wish they would have taken those people and done a movie.
Yeah.
Because that would have been a better Apocalypse movie in my mind.
But
is to actually have.
I think contractually though.
I think so too.
It's difficult.
But still, it's like I would rather have, even, I'd rather have like Halle Berry and like that group of people.
I didn't hate Halle Berry as Storm.
My only problem with her as Storm is that she wanted more screen time, and Storm doesn't need more screen time.
No,
like
she's pretty one note almost.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that bad Apocalypse costume. How not menacing did it look?
I know. He is not villainous at all.
He doesn't feel it. Like even some of his dialogue.
Yeah.
It doesn't feel. I should be fearing you. Like Ultron. Let's compare apples to oranges.
Sure.
Ultron felt menacing. He felt towering.
For as much as people complain about Ultron with like the one-liners and all that, yes, at least he still felt like
he felt big.
I will do,
like I'm going to, exterminate the human race, and I'm not gonna, think twice about it. Whereas the Apocalypse they got in this movie, it just doesn't feel.
And again,
and you can make the comparisons to Ivan Ooze all you want, but the costume just didn't look like anything.
It doesn't look like Apocalypse.
No. Where's the blue?
Where's the blue? Even the mouth.
The mouth, like the chest piece.
The general shape.
The chest piece was a little too elaborate for me too.
Well, because they went with the Egyptian thing,
which is fine. That's sort of his backstory, anyways.
It is, but they went too far. Like his whole thing was Egyptian, and it's like, well,
I should pull something up while we're talking about Apocalypse. It has to do with Apocalypse. Yeah.
I don't know.
It was not.
The Quicksilver scenes in those movies, I think, are overdone.
They're the only good parts, honestly.
They're good.
If I can only watch those scenes, they're worth it.
But they don't need to be in there.
Like Peter. No, what's the actor's name? Can't remember off the top, but whatever. He could have his own short.
Yep.
And I'd be okay with that.
Well,
a day in the life of Quicksilver.
And even the X Mansion's blowing up, and you have Quicksilver running around. The gags don't work. He's trying to save people, and he's still moving darts around and being an idiot. And you're going
grabbing the tab and
and you're like, why are you? I get it. You saved the goldfish. That was neat.
Yeah.
But then you're goofing around while this mansion's. You're narrowly saving people's lives when you should just be save life, save life, save life, save life, save life, save life, save life. I don't know. I'm
trying to find the original costume design they used for Apocalypse, and then the studio turned them down.
Did it look like Apocalypse?
It looked exactly like Apocalypse.
Yeah, it's not.
It looked exactly like Apocalypse.
As it should.
And the studio turned them down for that.
I don't get it.
Does that not look like Apocalypse to you?
Yes. And again, it's not like they didn't go crazy with the costumes.
No.
Because Olivia Munn as Psylocke,
also
way underused, but...
And incorrectly used.
Yeah.
Let's be honest about that. That character, no. She's... narratively speaking, and...
I like how they shoot themselves in their own foot, though. When they walk out of Return of the Jedi, and they're the third one's never as good.
Yeah.
And you're just you're right.
So meta.
Your third movie does suck.
So all of your third movies suck.
Well, and that's what they're trying to make fun of, the one that Bryan Singer didn't do.
Yes, correct. The last day.
And in so forth, make fun of themselves because this is the third movie of that young X-Men franchise, and it's junk.
And I will be... I think I was the only person that was really, really super bummed out about this, but... I wanted to see some Jubilee action.
Yeah!
There was a whole mall sequence that they had shot for that movie.
Yeah.
Before that's the movie sequence in the actual movie that was not ever used.
No.
There was apparently a shooting gallery sequence with Cyclops and Jean that they used. It's oh, man.
And that's what I was waiting for, because they're oh, we're going to the mall, and Kirk's all I want to go to this mall.
Yeah.
And you're yeah, mall.
Nope.
They just come back from them all.
Yeah.
And I'm like, seriously? That's all that happened?
Like, why that scene was cut? Will be beyond me. I don't know.
For time?
Or pacing wise, even.
That whole movie wasn't paced properly, so.
Yeah, like I don't understand. That movie could have done really, really well.
And then I fought myself on this one because I had Batman versus Superman in the running on this one too.
See, at the end of the day, I would rather watch Batman Superman again rather than X-Men or Sausage Party.
And that's what got me into X-Men Apocalypse was, and I haven't seen Sausage Party, so that's where I'm like, meh. But Batman versus Superman was, like, if it weren't for Batman, like Ben Affleck's Batman, if it weren't for that, would probably be on this list. But he's good enough where it's like, yeah.
And I appreciate for it setting up better characters in the universe, namely the Flash. Namely the Flash.
You hope.
But yeah, like I would rather watch that movie before X-Men, before Sausage Party again. Yeah, that's how I rate it. Because it was pretty close on my list there too. I was thinking about it. I'm like, it was the worst mess.
And that's the biggest thing.
It was just a mess.
I walked out of Batman versus Superman going, all right. And the more we talked about it, the worse that movie got.
Yeah.
It's like, just like,
wait, that entire like Wonder Woman sequence could have been the post-credit scene.
Yeah. And like, this could have been put there, and that could have been put there. And if we could edit this movie ourselves.
Yeah. Like, and then there was a movie in there.
There was a movie in there.
The worst part about it, there's a movie there. It's just it wasn't presented properly.
And I think they screwed up Lex Luthor enough that there is no saving that.
Yeah.
Like, he was too much
maniacal. He was too much of like
too nuts.
You mean like the Riddler?
He was too Joker, Riddler, Lex Luthor smashed into one. Like I think they were like, we're gonna take the Joker and Lex Luthor and smash them into one, and they got the Riddler.
Yeah, that role should have been Jesse Eisenberg as the Riddler,
and they could have, it wouldn't have been awkward.
No, it's like
the Riddler could have done something big enough to screw up
and maniacal. Yeah. And technologically wise, like he could totally have done that. Yeah. And there's your into Wayne Tech.
Sure.
There's your into Wayne Tech.
Not just Batman's branding people. Let's get him. Either who, and then compared to my top movie of the year, Batman versus Superman was junk. So
yes. Are we gonna go into top movie?
Top movie.
All right. What did you enjoy this year?
A lot.
Yeah.
This one was a tough one.
Yeah.
I recently saw The Jungle Book.
Yeah.
That was good.
That is on our Netflix. I hear it's good stuff.
It is good stuff.
So I think I will end up doing that myself as well.
And that's one of those things where like Beauty and the Beast is promising to me after seeing, because Alice in Wonderland to me was junk.
Oh yeah, the entire like.
You see those and go ugh.
I haven't even seen Through the Looking Glass, and I know that it's going to be bad.
Me too. And you see Jungle Book and go, okay, Beauty and the Beast could be good. Like, someone there knows what they're doing with these live-action flicks. It's just not Tim Burton. So there was that. We said Doctor Strange.
Yep, Doctor Strange is on my list as well.
Rogue One.
Star Wars Rogue One. Yeah, and now you understand I couldn't watch that movie again.
Oh, my God.
At the very end.
I get that. It was. At the very end, it's like I don't... You tear up a little.
I can't watch... I watched it before.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool.
And what a spectacular ending.
Yeah. I mean, spoilers for Rogue One.
Yeah, well, yes.
If you don't know already, it literally will lead into A New Hope.
Yeah, episode, like,
and so
legitimately,
there's only one way that movie's going to end. And I like that it's one of those untold stories.
Yeah.
Because there's no one that are left to tell the story about.
I know, it's perfect.
Right? It's like they covered up that whole completely,
So that's definitely on the list, but my top movie of the year, Civil War. Captain America, Civil War.
Civil War was...
And again...
surprisingly good.
Batman versus Superman comes out, and you're going...
very polarizing.
And it's like...
that's how you do a versus movie.
Well, yeah, and it's like, okay, the same concept is essentially going to be done in another month. Can Marvel pull the... Like, you start worrying a little.
Mm-hmm.
Like, Marvel's got to do something soon that's not good. Like, their luck has to run out. It's not even luck at this point.
I honestly don't know. Like,
and I mean, Doctor Strange, formulaic, but still good.
Yeah.
Again, it's not top-tier Marvel movie.
Mm-hmm. I totally thought it was Ant-Man, honestly. Like,
Yeah.
like I thought Ant-Man was sort of there, like, we're not sure if this is going to go anywhere. So, because it's the history behind the script, the way
And
that
that's-
Edgar Wright left, it's like, oh, that doesn't bode well for it. And it came out, and like we're like,
It's a movie.
Yes, Paul Rudd can do this.
Like-
Peyton Reed can do this.
Yeah, like they've got this handled. I'm good. And then Civil War, the Russo brothers just
Yes.
killed it.
Yeah, I think they are in a good position right now because it's not one person directing it. It's two people.
It's two.
That way they can definitely share the load.
They've got the right idea behind if a person doesn't need to be there, they're not there.
Yeah.
So like Hawkeye doesn't need to show up till they need Hawkeye.
Yeah.
And then Hawkeye shows up. Same with Ant-Man.
Mm-hmm.
It's not like you need to shoehorn Ant-Man into the movie until you need him.
And I've been watching a lot of those old Phase 2 movies lately because a lot of them are on Netflix. And I was thinking about it, I'm like, these are really, really faithful to the comics. Like to think about how these cameos and appearances would work in the comics, this is pretty close.
Yeah.
Whereas Batman, Superman,
Ugh.
here's Wonder Woman for no apparent reason.
Yeah.
Here is the Suicide Squad came out this year too.
Yep.
Oh, that was another hot mess. Not
Yep.
not bad.
And
Passable.
again, there
That's
was parts
passable.
of that movie that you're
That's
going.
passable.
There's a movie in there. Like DC keeps doing that to me.
They're barely there.
It's like there's a movie somewhere in there. If they would just like, okay, I should almost go to DC movies with a notepad and be like, okay, move this scene there and move the scene here. Cut this scene.
Yeah, save
move
this scene.
Yeah.
Save this scene for another movie.
Yeah.
You've shot it. Just hold on to it.
Yeah. But yeah, so Captain America: Civil War.
Yeah, that's a very good film. I agree.
It did everything right.
Yeah.
Spider-Man, Black Panther. You had two origin stories in there.
It looked good
Yeah.
too. Like a lot of the special effects seemed really, really good.
Yeah.
And I was. It's funny that we're talking about this because I also watched the Winter Soldier recently.
Yes.
And there was an interesting narrative circle in the with Falcon with Sam, because if you remember his origin story in Winter Soldier, he said he had lost his best friend, his wingman, in a flying accident. It's funny that he's involved in Iron Man losing Rhodey as a wingman. And I was thinking about them, like, that's a really good story arc. And then like having him like being like,
lands, just
I've experienced this. Like, I'm really sorry. And then he just,
because he lands all like, oh my god, I did not mean for that to happen.
Yeah,
like,
and you think about how that character was introduced.
That's a big impact. Good point.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, this like realizing, oh, I was involved in your best friend
potentially being dead.
Yeah,
like
it's like, oh shit.
As far as we know, he is not alive right now.
And still, like, he's still not in good place either, right? So
and they can work that out.
They
in
will,
movies,
but like
which is fine. But
at that moment, it's like for not Rhodey, for Sam.
Yeah,
like
that's a big thing.
Yeah, for him. I'm like, oh, that's. Like these directors know what they're doing. Everything's connected in some way.
Well, that was the Russo brothers for Civil War too. Like the Russo brothers have just been killing it. So Infinity War coming up is just
I'm not worried about that right now.
No, not at all.
So, that was your favorite.
That was my top movie.
Yes.
I'm picking that as my top flick.
Yes.
How about you, sir?
I'm picking Moana.
Oh,
Moana.
I haven't seen Moana.
Moana is. I still stand by it as it being the best Disney movie of all time. Like, there has been so many people that have watched it and say, like, yeah, no, this is it. They have perfected the way, the art, the colors, the songs, the acting, Dwayne Johnson and whatever her name is. I can't pronounce it because it's Hawaiian. But her, the main character, Aulili or something like that.
Yep.
It's just storytelling wise, it's one of the best Disney movies I have ever experienced.
Yeah.
The songs I still have stuck in my head. The story I still think about it all the time. And some of the characters that they introduced, like Hey is the chicken.
Oh yes.
And easily steals that movie. I didn't expect for that character to steal that movie, and yet I think about it and go, man, that character was really well written. Yet Disney has been on the record and saying he's actually the dumbest character they've actually, like, IQ wise, he's the dumbest character that they've created. Yet you love him so much as a viewer. It's like, whoa. And Alan Tudyk is basically just on permanent payroll for them.
Oh, then he should be,
because he plays Hey. Yeah. So it's like he's in everything that they do now. He just needs to have a Marvel character, like a Marvel appearance, and then like his contract is set. Because he's got Star Wars.
Oh, so good in Star Wars.
He's got Disney movies. Now he needs to be in Marvel.
I am with you too. Only because he said so.
Why don't I get a blaster? I want a blaster.
The probability of her shooting us is very high.
I'm pretty sure all his lines are ad-libbed for that movie. Like, if you're not sure, we're referencing K2.
Yes.
From Rogue One.
So
the droid. And, yeah, he really... Alan Tudyk is awesome.
The best part technically is he could come back as a character.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because he's just a droid.
He's just memory placed inside a droid.
Yeah, like he could be another, like he could be K3.
They could make a K3 and just
Yeah.
be like, Alan Tudyk's back, and everybody be like, yeah.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, Moana, I think, is my top pick of movie of 2016.
Excellent. Well, it's up there.
It's really good, and I never expected to enjoy it as much as I did.
Yep.
It was the most authentic, the most, I don't want to say realistic, but the most like true to Polynesian culture, the most true to Hawaiian culture in terms of Maui as a demigod, the character that they took from the fiction and blew him up on the big screen with Dwayne Johnson. And yeah, just watching the B-roll footage of Dwayne Johnson singing is the most delightful thing I've ever seen. Because there's all that footage on YouTube you can find. It's really good.
I watched him in that, him and Kevin Hart in that one movie. I can't remember what it is now. But he's like the CIA agent.
Oh, is it that one on Netflix, the True Assassin thing?
I forgot what it is now.
Is it a Netflix exclusive original thing?
No.
Okay,
this was like a legit movie. It came out in the theaters, and it was, but it was him and Kevin Hart, and he's a CIA. It's a comedy. It's like a buddy cop movie.
It's not Mall Cop.
No, it is not Paul Blart Mall Cop. But I watched it, and honestly, again, Dwayne Johnson was the best part of that entire. Like, I'm not a huge Kevin Hart fan.
No, he.
But Dwayne Johnson, Central Intelligence.
Oh yeah, so I've seen that
Yeah.
poster on the trailer for that one. Yeah.
Like, and Dwayne Johnson plays. He was the fat kid in high school that got made fun of all the time, and he's been holding on to that in his entire life. So even as this big, muscular, burly dude, he's still like this very sensitive, weird, geeky guy. So when he talks to people, he's like, and he wears a fanny pack, like the whole thing, you just go, oh my god. But he's so good because he just gets into it.
He is so talented right now. And
Yeah, he just enjoys what he does, and it shows.
And his resume is vast.
Yeah.
It's really, really vast.
Well, then you see Fast and the Furious 8 coming out next year, where it's just like, I'll beat you like a Cherokee drum, and then you see...
I would not be surprised if he's in the new XXX movie.
That'd be so good.
I would not be surprised if he...
I love that cameo. That would be a good cameo.
But I thought, for some reason, I thought Vin Diesel and Dwayne Johnson had a falling out.
I don't know.
I thought maybe that was just fabricated.
Maybe.
But
either way, like, I love
Dwayne Johnson is,
We've talked about that before, but
Yeah,
I saw him in this movie, and I went, this just proves it again, because, like... And then, it shows, like, the role after, and there's a part where Melissa McCarthy does, like, a cameo in this movie, and I go, she shows up, and I'm like, oh, man. But she plays the geeky girl from high school that he had a crush on.
Oh.
And there's one part where he's naked, like, the rocks... And all you see, of course, like, they cut off at the waist.
Waist up.
And, but she's sitting there, like, touching his pecs, and he keeps making them dance. And it's the B-roll footage, and she's just, like, freaking out because he's just, like...
It's Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah, it's Dwayne Johnson, yeah. And it's just him having a gas because she's just, like, she's supposed to be kind of, like, oh, my... And then he, like, makes one of them pop. Oh! And then she's like, can you do both? Huh? And he's just sitting there, like, laughing his, like, ass off. And you're going, Dwayne, I love you!
He knows that he's popular, and he plays it with.
And again, he's just having fun.
Yeah.
Which, I think that's what you want out of
Yeah.
it. Like... Honestly, you get that with
Oh, and don't forget Baby Groot now.
Baby Groot
coming out.
Yeah,
that's him. It's all him.
No, that's Vin Diesel.
No, yeah, I'm getting them mixed up again.
Yeah. But like,
You're right. Never mind.
You see, even Hugh Jackman, his love for Wolverine, no matter how bad a movie he makes, even though I will not discuss that film, like, he's still good.
Mm-hmm.
Like even
Ryan Reynolds.
Yeah,
same thing, same story.
You have fun in a movie you're making. It shows, and you have a way better product.
Mm-hmm.
It's people who do these projects because it's like, well, it's a paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
It shows.
I mean, look at I mean, Robert Downey Jr. over the years.
Oh, yeah.
Building that character from... You watch Iron Man 1 and you watch Civil War now. Such a stark difference. No pun intended.
Well, and again,
it's
Robert Downey Jr. can act.
Mm-hmm.
He just has fun now,
Mm-hmm.
and it shows. Like him in Spider-Man: Homecoming, it's gonna be.
Yeah, it's gonna be good.
So
those are our hot movies of the year. I think.
Yes.
I think to tag along as to honorable mention, Fantastic Beasts was.
See, and I haven't seen that one too.
It's not as bad as people thought it was. It's good. It's very good. It's very, very, very good.
Well, that's good.
But don't go in expecting Harry Potter.
No, and you shouldn't.
You really shouldn't. You really shouldn't. But a lot of people had that expectation. It's like, oh, it's Harry Potter. It's like, they're gonna go to like Hogwarts and do stuff. No, it's all in New York. It's all American wizardry.
And it's the adults doing stuff.
And it's adults doing stuff, handling adult stuff. Not that the last movies and last books had adult stuff, but this one starts off the gate, right out of the gate. Doing adult
There's
stuff.
no like cheery.
No, it's all dark. It's like, oh, this we gotta solve this murder. And
Come
stuff
on,
like
Harry, we gotta get on the train.
Nope. No, there's zero trains in this movie. There's zero trains in. I had to think about that.
Well, then it's not a real movie, is it?
I'm trying to think of like maybe passing by over the top, but no. Colin Farrell's really, really good in that movie. Yeah, just a lot of that film was really good. Visually, it was nice to watch. And yeah, there is no overarching villain.
Yeah.
It just so happens to be an unfortunate event with, these monsters coming out. And
honestly, it's like Rogue One. You just, like a movie.
Yeah. And the nice part about it is at the end of the movie, there's something that does happen. And it fits into the rest of the Harry Potter lore. Yeah. And then people are kind of freaking out, like, oh, what are they going to do with the ending? And then that's where that story came out of, oh, we're going to make, 5 more of these. Yeah. And, yeah, it seemed daunting when they said that. And everyone was like, really? You're going to, milk this? And the plot twist at the end of that movie, it makes sense that they want to make more.
Again, I don't mind them milking a good movie.
No.
As long as they continue to do good work.
And you know what? They've set themselves up to be like, okay, Newt's story is done, but we've set something up way bigger than his story.
Yep.
That has a bigger impact than you realize.
Yeah.
So, that's so honorable mention. I do want to mention Fantastic Beasts because it was really, really good.
Excellent.
So,
okay, our most...
That's it. We're going to round out 2016. We're going to do something into 2017.
Dun, da, da, da.
Things that were
most anticipated.
Looking forward to.
Now, for our movies.
Okay.
We're leaving out the stuff we know we're definitely going to see.
So things like Spider-Man,
anything
like
by
Star
Marvel,
Wars,
anything done by Disney.
Yeah, basically anything Disney.
If Disney owns them.
Yeah, there's a 99% chance that those are going to be really good.
And we're going to go see them anyway. So
right. So we picked a movie and movies, quote unquote, maybe things that we really want to see, but we're not sure. But
we want to see them, and we're hoping that they're good.
Yeah. So honorable mentions, I think, Fast and Furious,
Fate of the Furious,
Fate 8.
But again, I'm seeing that movie.
It's one of those movies.
I'm not even hoping it's good.
It's bad. It's bad but good at the same time. It's like, yes.
I'm hoping for a Fast and the Furious movie, and that's what I'm going to get.
Mm-hmm. Let's see. I had this pulled up. Let me see what else is coming out the next year. Yeah. Google.
Fate of the Furious. Definitely going to see. Yeah. I mean, honestly, and again, anything by Disney, I'm going to see.
Justice League is coming out next year, apparently.
I hope it's good.
Yeah.
The Lego Batman movie, obviously, going to see that.
Mm-hmm. What do you think of the new Pirates film? I feel like that's gone too far.
I didn't mind the last one.
I minded all of them. So, of this list, I think we both agree in terms of most anticipated movie.
Yes.
The Kingsman, The Golden Circle, the sequel to a movie that
I love that movie so much.
I didn't expect to enjoy the first Kingsman as much as I did.
I put it on as something to fall asleep to because I'm sitting there going, "Oh, this is going to be one of those."
Yeah.
Turned it on. I'm like,
it felt like an action hero, James Bond as a superhero.
Yeah.
And
it's like James Bond turn up to 11.
Yeah, and you want to see where that story is going. And you want to follow it all the way through. And then it ends so perfectly well.
Oh, yeah.
Narratively, it's so good. It's still funny.
Yeah, there's good jokes. It's well
written. And I actually ended up buying the graphic novel, which it's based off of.
Oh, yeah.
And it was a good read.
Yeah.
It's funny because the opening of the comic book.
Yeah.
It opens in that cabin sequence where it's like, oh, we've kidnapped this major person. They ended up kidnapping Mark Hamill.
Yes, and then he was the one. I read that.
And then, so it's like, oh, Mark Hamill is just the best in the world right now. So, so hopefully the follow-up to... I'm really looking forward to the Golden Circle, is what it's called.
Yep.
There is a rumor, the poster, a certain individual might be coming back, which... Yes. Hopefully he's back in. But yeah, that's my most anticipated movie. Our most anticipated movie.
Oh, for sure.
Of 2017. Because it's like, things like Baywatch are going to come out. If you liked Ghost in the Shell, that's coming out next year too.
See, in Ghost in the Shell, I'm not...
I feel like...
I never watched the anime, so I'm not invested in that one enough to be like, oh, I want to see that.
I respect Ghost in the Shell as a series.
Sure.
I understand the story that it's, the narrative that they're trying to build in that world, but... It just never hooked me.
No.
But I understand, the concept of, machines and, are they alive? Are they dead? Kind of thing.
I saw World War Z 2. Keep going. There. That giant 2.
No. No.
I can't believe they're trying to do that.
No. What else is notably coming out?
The Emoji Movie.
Yeah, no. No.
And my thing that I wrote down was the Power Rangers movie.
Yeah, Power Rangers is a close second. I just think that...
Oh, yeah.
We need to see more
of
that film.
This is one of those... It's like the Justice League.
It could be bad.
I want to see it because I hope it'll be good.
Yes, correct.
Because I keep hoping DC will turn out a really good movie that makes Marvel go, oh, we have to keep our game going. Mm-hmm. To keep up with... Give us something so that Marvel goes, oh.
Yeah, make them sweat a little.
Make them notice you.
Yeah.
Forget us.
Yeah. Don't just excel in your TV series.
So, yeah, Power Rangers I'm hoping is good, but yeah, we do need to see...
A little bit more.
More, but I mean, Bryan Cranston, Bill Hader...
Yeah, the cast seems solid enough.
They've got people in this movie.
Yeah. I hope they're not just fleeting, actors in the movie just in it for a paycheck. I hope not. And... Bryan Cranston doesn't seem like that.
No,
anyways.
he does not.
And neither does Bill Hader. He's been in some pretty bad stuff, but he's still good in them.
He likes what he does. Again, he has fun. So yeah. I'm assuming it's like, do you want to be Alpha 5? And he's like, yeah. Brian's in this movie too. Yes. Mm-hmm. It's like a little mini. Well, Elizabeth Banks. I mean, she's done hit and miss stuff, but again,
they're not unknown actors.
Mostly
just the Rangers are unknown actors,
which is fine.
They're younger actors.
I have always said in a lot of movies you should pick people you don't really know. Mm-hmm. Honestly, look at Rogue One.
Look at Spider-Man.
And look at Spider-Man. Tom Holland was not a...
He did, I think, 2 movies before this, maybe
bigger
3.
Ones. Because he did that one with Chris Hemsworth.
That
Moby Dick movie.
Yeah,
Ugh.
Let's not talk about that. Have you seen John Wick?
No. It's one of those ones. Yeah, John Wick 2's coming.
Yeah, John Wick 2. I don't know. I feel like I'm going to watch that in theaters, but I'm not looking forward to it. I only want to see it just because it's, Keanu Reeves doing that movie again. And it's like, I treat it on the same level as Fate of Fast 8. Fast 8. It's on the level of Fast 8 for me. I know it's...
You just want to see it for the sake of... Yeah.
It's one of those dumb action movies that it's like, it cranks
see it and it'll be...
It cranks it up to 11 and just goes. Yeah. So, I mean, he does get a new dog in the movie. So, we'll see how that happens.
Wonder Woman.
Oh, yeah. Meh.
But again, and I should not feel that... we have Guardians.
Yeah. You got
Thor, which I'm excited about because all the news coming out of it sounds like it's going to be the most rip-roaring crazy movie ever.
I haven't been excited for a Thor movie in a long time. Even the Dark World was kind of passable.
It's hard to write Thor. So this guy's just like, we're going to do what they did, like the Russo brothers did for Captain America in Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
Turn Thor on his head and make him an actual character.
Yeah.
And it's like, all right.
And they chose the perfect storyline to do that with.
Yeah.
So... Things aren't going to end well.
Well, and plus throwing a bit of Planet Hulk into that movie is going to help a lot too. I'm excited for Thor. I'm excited for Spider-Man.
I'm not a huge person into the Planet Hulk stuff. I'm not
I wasn't a huge person, but throwing it into a movie,
Yeah,
like being able to see,
it's not enough to do its own, and also they can't do their own. But
no, but throwing that into that movie is perfect because Hulk's biggest issue is Hulk doesn't have anything to fight.
No,
he never does.
Well,
it's supposed to be the inner struggle between.
Let's be honest. The character they want him to fight.
Yes.
Can't.
Yes.
They can't pit those two characters together right now. Contractually.
I know. That's what I mean. It's just like
I've read that old man storyline.
So if you throw him into Asgard, and he can fight godlike beings, because him and Thor can actually tussle. So if he can have a fight with other people
around Thor's level,
we're good.
Yeah.
We now have an actual decent thing for the Hulk to be doing.
Yeah. I mean, it's more than just flailing Loki around.
Right. Which is funny.
Yeah.
But again, it's not a challenge. You need to have a good movie. You need to challenge him. So unless you're gonna bring Abomination back for another go around, like
I think the ship has sailed on Abomination.
We'll see, because General Ross is back, but
yeah.
But that's what I mean. Like, there's so much.
They needs a lot of work with Abomination because I didn't like the look of him either in that movie.
Yeah, but they can change that. They've changed the way the Hulk looks too.
Barely. He's still green.
Yeah.
The color was the issue because Abomination does not look.
Yeah.
Like that.
Either way, like Marvel's got all those ones coming out, superhero movies that I'm like, yeah. Justice League, it's like, God, I hope they do this good.
Yep.
Wonder Woman is like,
pass.
Yeah.
I want to see Chris
Pine.
Yeah, I basically just want to see Chris Pine again because he's great in most things he does. I haven't seen the latest Star Trek movie yet, but
I've seen most of it. I had to leave before the end of the movie. Like, I was watching it here, and we had to go somewhere, and I'm like, all right. I haven't gotten back to it, but it was.
What you saw when it was okay with.
It was a good movie.
Simon Pegg wrote that, didn't he?
Yep.
Yeah, so that could be all right.
I wasn't mad at the movie.
Mm-hmm.
It was a Star Trek. It was the new Star Trek flicks.
Mm-hmm. And I don't like Star Trek, so for me, it's like there needs to be a really good hook for me to watch this. And I was really surprised with the first one.
Yeah.
So it made me interested in it.
Most anticipated.
We're gonna switch gears.
Yes. Most anticipated games.
So
I wrote down the Nintendo Switch. I'm looking forward to more information on the Switch.
Right.
But in and of that self, Zelda
and anything else that usually comes out of a Nintendo launch.
Yeah.
We'll see. And the only reason why I didn't put the Switch on my list is because I don't know enough about it. I don't know the price.
Well,
I don't know the technical specs.
We have that coming in.
I know.
And what? 12 days or something stupid?
Oh, yeah. It's going to be weird. But yeah, that's going to be interesting to see if that holds up. I think it's like the price is going to be a big deal. The battery life is going to be a big deal.
The battery life is going to be huge.
The rumors of it being more powerful when docked.
Yeah.
Rumors of it having a touch screen. I don't like those last two.
Yeah, we'll see. Like, that's the thing. We'll see.
Like, that's crazy to me that you would give more power to it when it's docked.
The only thing I can see is, obviously, like, if you have it in your hand, you don't have to run it 1080p. Because it's this big. Mm-hmm. So...
and the size, we don't know if that's the final size either. I think it all looked pretty prototypey.
Except it's been on Jimmy Fallon, like they've played on it enough to... I know.
They've done that before the GameCube, they've done that before
So we'll see,
DS.
but this thing's pretty much, I think, in production at this point, coming out in March.
Yes.
So
whatever it is, they've got
whatever we see in another couple of weeks is what we get, but...
It could be, the color might be different, the buttons might look a little different, but in terms of the size and stuff like that, I hope it gets finalized and whatever price comes out, I just don't want to touch
But
screen.
Again, I don't want to touch screen either, but at this, 720, and then when you dock it, it switches to 1080.
Yeah.
And maybe the dock has some extra cooling stuff in it so that it can, essentially it overclocks itself.
Yeah. And
that's the only extra juice I see it.
Yeah.
It just overclocks, but there's fans to compensate. So...
Yeah, it's gonna be a tough sell, I think, in terms of if it's like, oh yeah, now there's got more RAM in it. Now it's got a different GPU, and I'm like, I understand the versatility of a Type-C connector. Like, there's a lot you can do with Type-C right now.
Yeah.
But adding more juice to it when it's docked and then having it run slower.
I don't. I think it should. And the way that
it should be just a display thing.
And Reggie showed it off on Jimmy Fallon, and when he picked it up, it was fairly seamless as to
the transition.
The transition. I think he just had to switch the like controller configurations because they were playing with the one.
The I don't even know what the names of those
the
are.
Pro or whatever.
Joy-Con
like,
or
yeah, and then he picked it up without sliding the Joy-Cons out. Like he was just playing with the Pro controller, and then he just picked it up off the thing, going like, I think he just had to switch those because he was playing again. And Jimmy Fallon, when he was playing, it didn't look like it was tough to tell.
I honestly think all those Jimmy Fallon things where they get to really get his reaction. I feel like some of those like, okay, we're gonna bring this on stage, but your reaction needs to be real.
But just not even his reaction, but just watching the screen as he played. Like everybody's trying to like parse information out of that.
It doesn't look like it has a touchscreen on it.
No,
it doesn't. But the rumors have been pretty accurate as of late.
So
hopefully,
but either way,
the Nintendo Switch makes it in.
And Zelda, in and of itself, whether it's on the Wii U or the Switch, I'm excited for that new Zelda game.
Yeah, that's just part of the Switch, really.
Zelda!
Yeah. I am looking forward to Mass Effect.
Yeah.
The new Mass Effect has been Andromeda, if you need any prefaces. There's a trailer on our site that Graham watches.
I'm not sure if it's up yet.
Okay, well, eventually it'll go up.
Yep.
But it's out there, and it looks real good.
Yeah.
It looks real good, and I'm really excited. That's my big driving point to get a new video card is I want to run that on a PC, not a PS4.
Yeah.
Because I feel like on a PS4, because I don't have a Pro. I don't want to get a PS4 Pro.
All right.
I feel like that's a real big waste of money if I were to get a Pro.
It'd be different if you could, again, buy a component.
And then buy a new GPU and slap it into my PS4.
Yeah.
Buy more RAM and slap that into my PS4.
Yeah.
No, you can't do that, unfortunately.
And that's my thing. Like, even the N64 had an expandable expansion pack thing.
I think, though, that's just literally adding memory.
It was.
So,
that's all it did.
and Mass Effect, I'm really looking forward to. Like, everything that I've seen so far from the game.
Other than, and again, I didn't really mind the ending to 3, but...
and you know what? I accept it.
Yeah.
At this point, I've accepted what they've done with the ending.
But 3 overall was a good game.
Oh, yeah. And it looked good for that time, too.
Yeah.
Like, it played well, and it ran real good, and the story, depending on how you branched out.
Yep.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what that game has in store next year, because it's out pretty soon. I think it's like, I want to say like Q1 or end of Q1 or Q2, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know.
Because it's pretty soon. Other than that, no, I don't know. In terms of games I'm looking forward to, obviously the Switch, it's on my list, but I just need to know more.
And we get more info soon, which is good. Ukulele.
Yep, that's coming out as well. But again, that's a known quantity. We know that that's going to be good.
Yeah.
I think Horizon Zero Dawn is on my list as well, but unfortunately, I don't want to like promote my PS4 that much. Not that I hate it. It's just I'd want to make that hard transition to the PC, and I can't play it on the PS4.
Friday the 13th game's coming out.
Yes, that is definitely a game that's coming out.
That's one that I want to watch. I in my brain, it's like I want that game. I want that game to be good. Again, it's like one of those things where it's like I want this game to be good.
Some other runner-ups: Red Dead 2.
Yep.
Red Dead 2 looks pretty good too. I really wish Kingdom Hearts 3 was coming out next year, but it's not. It's that game will never come out.
Is it their new what is that game that finally came out? Last Guardian or whatever?
Oh, that's last year. That was this year.
That's what I mean. Like that one finally came out, so now Sony needs another game that they can like
wait 10 years for, because that was between Final Fantasy 15, which was versus 13.
Yeah.
Which came out again this year or last year, sorry.
But that's what I mean. It's like I think Sony just always needs a game like, oh, it's coming out, guys. We swear.
Yeah.
Now it'll be Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah, Kingdom. So, but yeah, Mass Effect and the Nintendo Switch. I think those are pretty good anticipations that we're looking forward in 2017. And yeah, that's it for now. That's,
and there's no news.
No, it's because it's the end of the year and people are kind of taking a break.
Yeah. Well, there's nothing really.
I'm looking forward. If there's one thing I am looking forward to, it didn't come out last year, but I'm looking forward to maybe getting into it is some VR. I'm still not sure which platform I want to really go on, but I think PSVR, depending on. I was actually hoping there was a price drop in some of the headsets, like the standalone headsets last year, but hopefully this year, because 550 is still really
steep.
It's very steep just for a headset. And yes, you can make the argument that it's the cheapest of the headsets.
Still though,
it's still really. I mean, like $550 for a headset. $200 for a
video card.
Yeah, I'm like, no, video cards. I need that more than a video VR at this point.
Yeah.
Trying to run Fallout 4 on an old 560 Ti. Runs. Runs.
I pretty much talked about everything I've been playing and watching, though.
Mm-hmm.
Are we post crediting today?
No, I think that's
I think this is just our
Yeah.
New Year's special.
Special
It
extravaganza.
encompasses everything.
Extravaganding.
Yeah, because other than, like I said, I watched Ghostbusters, which I
Yeah.
didn't think was as bad as I watched that Central Intelligence movie,
Yeah,
which again I
watched Fantastic Beasts. Not bad. Pretty good. It's pretty good. Go watch that. It's still there.
played Overcooked.
Yeah.
I started Mad Max, but I think we've talked about that game enough.
Yeah,
With Chris
ad nauseum on that. One.
And again, it's a good game.
Mm-hmm.
It's one of those games where you get sidetracked into the other stuff.
I did put in about 5 minutes into Abzu.
Oh, yeah.
I hear great things about it, but I just haven't had the time to really play it.
Yeah.
It's been described as an underwater version of Journey on the PS4. If you played that on PS4 and PS3, so I'm looking forward to getting some time onto that. I picked up Quake Live because I hear excellent things about Quake Live. I don't know. It was $3 on Steam, and I was like, yeah, sure. So
And I picked up XCOM 2. Haven't played it yet because I'm playing Mad Max and Planet Coaster.
Yeah.
And then I got this on Boxing Day, but
Warcraft the movie.
I've watched it.
Yeah, and
It's not bad. It's not great. It's
a
not
movie.
It's a movie. But the best part is this movie was a whole $10.
Yeah.
And it came with the Gul'dan hero for Heroes of the Storm.
Oh God, you got a thing for it?
Yeah.
Ah, that's awesome.
Like they built in a pre-order bonus type thing into the Blu-ray, so like you get a sheet and it was like get Gul'dan, and I'm like for $10 he's like $7 in the game. So for an extra $3 I get the movie
and the digital one,
and I get the digital film, which is on movie companies. I'm gonna close with this is my last. This ultraviolet stuff.
Oh, it's garbage.
Bite me. Google Play Store, which you can't. You put the code in.
Yeah.
Ultraviolet or iTunes.
Yeah, it's garbage.
And luckily you can cast from the Flickster app now.
I do that actually.
Which is what I run my ultraviolet through, but it's like what a piece of
Yeah, it's a load. I ended up buying Rick and Morty season 1 and 2, and the same thing. And the worst part about it is because the DVDs don't come out in America, Canada.
Yeah.
So when I tried to redeem the codes on Ultraviolet, it's like this is not available in your country. I'm like, bite me.
Yeah.
So I ended up using a Tunnel Bear
Yeah.
into the American site, redeeming it under my account, going back into Canada. It's still under my account. I'm like, you literally had this. You made me to a step and a half to redeem this. Come back so I can watch.
Well, and like Google Play Movies, I have most of my flicks on, like all of my movies on.
Mm-hmm. I have all
I
my
can
Marvel.
share with my wife.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because we're in the family account thing, so like anything I get, she gets.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, and not again that she wants to see Warcraft or Jurassic World,
Mm-hmm.
but both of those movies are now stuck on my Ultraviolet account, which again runs through Flickster, which runs like
It's almost gotten to a point where I need to do research if I buy a physical disc to see how to redeem it, because I have and this is pre Google Play, before those movies really were big.
Yes.
I have Toy Story 3
Yeah.
stuck on my iTunes account.
Oh, I have so many stuck on my iTunes account.
And it's like, I've got that. I've got Dr. Horrible stuck on my iTunes account. Not that I want to I could rebuy it on the Google Play. I don't even know if it's on Google Play. But that's stuck on my iTunes. A bunch of movies. Cabin in the Woods is stuck on my iTunes.
And well, and see, my biggest thing too is, Ghostbusters, because I did like it enough where I'm like, all right, like there's an extended cut where I'm like, all right, look on Google Play. Well, it's still $24.99 or whatever, and I'm going,
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, that's deep.
well, because it's new, they don't discount their movies until it's whatever. So I'm like, all right, so I look on Amazon, find the DVD, and find the DVD digital copy, $13. So I'm like, perfect. Except
But
I don't know if it's Ultraviolet, but it's done by Sony. So if it's done by Sony, chances are it's Ultraviolet, and I'm like,
that's garbage. That's hot garbage.
because I want it on my Google Play. It just makes my life easier, and I know it's a first world problem in and of itself, but
When you want your ecosystems to be in and of itself.
Yeah, I want everything
to work together.
Like, my movies should only be in one place.
If that's one thing I'm looking forward to in 2017, and sort of segue that into video games, VR.
Yeah.
There's been such like a triple path in VR.
Yeah.
You either go PSVR,
yeah,
Oculus Rift, or HTC Vive.
Yeah.
And those things, HTC and the Oculus kind of fit together, kind of, but it's just those. There needs to be some parity because you can't expect consumers to buy one headset and then have the other one have it fail.
Yeah.
Because marketing, whatever. It's like I like the headset on the Vive, but I like the controllers on the Oculus. And for from the majority of the time, like they don't like crosstalk.
Right.
And Sony's just off doing their own thing.
Right. So it's just like, whatever, guys, we got this.
Yeah. They're the cheapest one. They can kind of get away with whatever, right? And it was probably really easy for them to develop because of the light system. But I really do like the Oculus Touch controllers because there is a sense of finger tracking on those.
Yeah, so it's like you're actually moving.
Yeah, you're actually moving your fingers in VR. Whereas the Vive, it's a glorified Wii remote.
Right.
Essentially. No, which isn't a bad thing, but I just, there's things about VR headsets that I wish they just converged at some point. Or
as VR gets more popular and more mainstream and less expensive.
More inexpensive for people to get into.
I think you'll start seeing more of that kind of happening.
Oh, yeah, totally. And so that's one of my biggest hopes in 2017 is that tech gets easier to get into from a mainstream perspective.
Cool. Well, from everybody here at Barrel Roll News,
hope you had a wonderful 2016.
Yeah.
And we'll look forward to seeing you more in the new year.
How could they not have had a great 2016? Barrel Roll News came back.
Yes, we did. We had a revival.
Either who. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year and everything else in between.
Check us out at barrelrollnews.com, Facebook, Twitter,
Patreon.
Patreon.com/BRNN.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.